Hey, hey, Virgo, Mel, intuitive coach here, excited to bring in your November 2025 monthly reading. All right, let's open up your energy field and take a look at what the month ahead has in store for you. Now, Virgo, your third house of communication, writing, learning, networking, and even short distance travel is highlighted for you this month. You are being asked to express yourself through connection and truth. And Scorpio's influence is helping you dig beneath the surface of words. I'm getting throat chakra activation for many of you. You are being guided to speak with truth, to listen to your intuition, and to transform how you share your voice with the world. That's a powerful one. Now, this may show up in deep and meaningful exchanges or conversations that you have with loved ones, perhaps with your family, especially siblings, because the third house can highlight sibling energy. And I see that there's a deeper emotional or spiritual understanding of where you stand or the healing that needs to take place or has taken place here. Now, because the third house also rules learning, some of you may be embarking upon new study or a new topic here, or even exploring spiritual and psychological insight. I am getting the mind, so psychology could be significant. Some of you may even be diving into hypnotherapy. I'm getting using the voice, perhaps for guided meditation. Now, this could be something you are listening to, or it could even be that you have a voice that almost feels hypnotic. Yeah, it feels hypnotic. So if you have been wanting to speak up, maybe even share your skills or your talents, this is a great month to do so. Now, mentally, a lot of you are being guided to release any sort of negative self-talk and to cultivate thoughts that empower and motivate you. So for many of you, it feels like your voice has been silenced in some way. Yeah, look at the shadow. The shadow was sneaking out of the offering. So you have two archetypes this month. So let's dive in here and take a look at your key themes. You have wanderlust. So there's your travel energy. Many of you could be planning a trip. This could be a weekend getaway. It could even be a staycation, or you may be wanting to check out the new restaurant in town, or perhaps there's a show that's not far away from your home or an event. So this could be short-term travel, but for some of you, you could also be contemplating maybe a bigger trip or even a move, because wanderlust is a big part of your energy. Now, something within you is stirring. Your gypsy soul has been activated, meaning you are wanting to explore new lands. Now, this could show up in any area of your life, perhaps in your career. You are wanting to speak up. You may be wanting to creatively connect and network, collaborate with others, think outside the box. This is about travel, tourism, and new lands. You may even be interested in real estate, Virgo. Some of you are contemplating like Airbnb, whether this is Airbnb your own home or space, or you may be booking a reservation for an upcoming trip. I also see here that you may be guided to expand your skills and talents and maybe even put them out into the world in some way. I am getting the World Wide Web, meaning you could be an influencer, or perhaps you are able to work from anywhere in the world, or there could even be a teacher or a mentor where you are connecting with them online or over Zoom or, on the internet. So there's a great energy of networking and expansion here. And I feel like you are being guided this month to recalibrate, right? Think of November as a recalibration of your voice, all right, of your voice and even your own perception here. You're being guided to listen to that inner voice. Trust your intuition here. This is about synchronicities taking place. And I'm also hearing the word serendipity. So it feels like you are at the right place at the right time, meaning there could be some unexpected people that come into your life, but this is destined. This is fated energies that kind of put you in the right spot to get recognized, to get seen, or to be able to use your voice in a truthful, authentic way. I also see that many of you, you're being intuitively guided here to step out into a new chapter of your life. There's something brand new unfolding for you. And I see a departure. Yeah, Six of Swords. Look at that. There is a departure. You're moving away from a challenge, a shadow, or a struggle. And that shadow, that struggle has actually deepened or strengthened your own intuitive awareness. Oftentimes, if you look into the backgrounds of healers, psychics, channelers, mediums, we often come from a very difficult background, or there's been an event that has shaken up those intuitive abilities here, meaning many of you have gone through something difficult, but it's actually strengthened that intuitive backbone. And we are all intuitive. We are all healers. We are all able to tap in. And some of us utilize that energy more so than others, but we all have this capability. Now, intuition here is about awareness. It is about being aware of the subtle signs that maybe your body is giving you, the cues. So paying attention, is your body feeling expansive when you are around a certain person, or when you are working on your creative endeavors, or when it comes to your own health? Are you listening? Now, Virgo, we have finances showing up. So finances in your third house is really about you learning a new topic and refining your message, refining your voice, and being able to, add onto your skill set here in some capacity. And I see that this has the ability to generate income. If you are willing to learn, if you're willing to grow, which many of you are, that's why you're here watching these readings, because you want to evolve not only spiritually, but you want to evolve in your material world. And I see with that 10 of Pentacles, that is your Kickstarter energy for the month. Many of you are creating a legacy for yourself. You are in the midst of healing generational gunk is what I'm hearing. So this could be ancestral healing. Remember, I mentioned siblings, but this could even go back into the womb, where this could be parental. Is someone a twin or even a triplet? I feel like twins are significant here for some of you. Maybe you have twins, or you are a twin or a triplet. I also see with finances here, many of you are generating a new income source that's tied to this wanderlust, that's tied to the throat chakra, that's tied to refining your skill set here and exploring some sort of, as I mentioned, either spiritual or metaphysical insight, or like psychological here. So this may be something that you certainly move more into in the month of November. Now, bottom of the deck, we have divine guidance. Divine guidance is showing up, for one, to let you know that you're never alone, right? That your prayers are being answered. And sometimes those prayers aren't answered in ways that we think, but Spirit knows our heart. Spirit supports us and protects us. And I feel like there's assistance here. And many of you are being guided to work with the archangels, but also to work with your own guardian angel, because we all have our own guardian angel. And I see that miracles are unfolding here. Now, the textbook, A Course in Miracles, defines a miracle as a shift in perspective from fear to love. And I mentioned earlier that that perspective shift occurring for you throughout the month of November. And you asking yourself here, what stories am I ready to rewrite? That's why you have letting go. And it looks like two siblings on the bike here. So some of you are being guided to communicate through truth and authenticity, to speak up and to not hold your light back, to not close or suppress that throat chakra. Now, moving into your tarot cards, we have the 10 of coins, the 10 of pentacles. And this energy is all about stability, financial security, legacy, and long-term goals. Now, you can see that there is a gate that is around this red carpet. And the red is the color of the root chakra, which has to do with our safety, our security, our sense of belonging. So many of you have been working on paying off debt, or working through some family drama, or creating balance between material wealth and emotional well-being. This is a big part of your path, and there may have even been a period of your life where external validation or possessions were blocking genuine connections here in some way, whether this is part of the duality between you and family. Maybe it's something that you had struggled with, creating that sense of stability for yourself. But I see that you are coming to a point where you are creating those long-term goals. You are making moves. You're thinking outside the box. You are opening yourself up to wonder, right? With wanderlust, you're opening yourself up to possibility, and you're being guided to trust your intuition because your voice matters. And many of you are here to share your voice in some way. Maybe it's through public speaking. Perhaps it's through writing a book. It could be through counseling or psychology or whatever your soul is calling you to participate in at this time. You could certainly generate income from this. And it could even bring you into retirement. It could ripple out into family legacy. It could even be something that you blend with your family. Maybe it's a family-based business. Some of you, it's between siblings even. It could be a friendship, someone who's like a sibling to you. Now, we have strength here, which does not surprise me. Almost every sign for the month of November has either been getting strength as a key theme or strength as a major arcana. And strength tells me that collectively, November feels like a very deep, very intense month. But I see that we as a collective are going to overcome these obstacles. The strength here tells me that there may be fears that each and every one of us face this month, but we are being guided to not doubt our path, to not fall into avoidance or fight or flight. We are being asked to pay attention to what is within our control and release that external noise in the best possible way. Now, this little girl is hugging the crocodile. And some people may think, why on earth would she put herself in danger? Why would she hug that beast? Because the little girl knows that underneath this facade of beast, that there is a soul, that there is, energy. And you may be guided here to show more compassion and kindness to your own shadows, or perhaps shadows of another, because we are all here just walking each other home. And yes, we are seeing a lot of ugly in the world, but we don't have to participate in that ugly. And I see here with the strength, you have come through a lot. You may still be going through a lot, Virgo, but when strength shows up, this is the one energy that can get through anything. You have gotten through 100% of the challenges and struggles that you have faced, especially tethered to finances or family or debt. And many of you are coming to a space in your life where, you're tired. You want to move on from this hardship. And that's where the Six of Swords comes in. This is bye-bye, Five of Swords. I'm moving on. Because what the Six of Swords is departing from is the Five, which I don't love the energy of the 5. It's a battle of the ego. And when we get into a battle of egos, basically it's two people's wounded inner child that is reacting from that wound. It doesn't have to just be two people. It can be a group, it can be a community, it can be a tribe of lower vibrational energies that are based in pain, that are based in ego. And I see that you have done a lot of healing. You've done a lot of learning around what stability means for you, because you've been doing some of the inner work. And because I see here the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, this is a respectable energy. And many people respect you, Virgo. They respect your opinion, they respect your words. And if you are in a situation where respect has been lost, or someone has pushed against your boundaries or tested your integrity or your honesty in some way, I see that you're rising above that. You are, closing out this cycle. There is a departure here happening. Now, of course, the 6 of Swords is tethered to travel, as we mentioned, but it's also about trust. It is about hope. It is about healing. This is about you moving on mentally, because the 5 of Swords can be mental entanglement, where we fight with our own ego. I don't know about you guys, but my ego has gotten in the way plenty when it comes to my career, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to my own health and discernment. And sometimes we have to, take some time out mentally and separate ourselves from the noise in order to perhaps get a different or a higher perspective on what's really going on. Because we can fall into that fear-based energy. We can feel trapped or stuck in that 5 of Swords. It's not fun. But I see that you're moving on from this. Now, I just heard the name Henry. Henry, perhaps that's your name. It could be a loved one in spirit. Maybe it's someone's dog or cat. Henry, I love that. And I'm also seeing here an automobile. How interesting that automobile came up instead of truck or car. But someone could be working in the automotive industry, or you may have some sort of transportation. Maybe you work in transportation. There could even be, the search for a new part on a vehicle, or it could even be, a new or used vehicle. I am getting something along the lines of like automotive showing up for some of you. Someone could also be very handy when it comes to working on vehicles. Maybe you're getting your oil changed here, or, if there is a flat tire, it just feels like there's help, there's resources here, there's a knowing, there's knowledge that is coming from this. Now, you have the Empress showing up here, Virgo. This is about parenting yourself, because oftentimes the mother is taking care of everyone else that she feels drained. She feels depleted at times, and you may be guided to reparent yourself this month. Now, remember, this is a recalibration type of vibe. And as we move into Sagittarian season by late November, the focus moves into your 4th house of home, your 4th house of emotional roots, helping you ground that new perspective that you have been learning throughout November into deeper inner peace and that sense of belonging. So that's where the Empress energy shows up. Now, many of you are being guided to unleash your creative abilities, because you are highly artistic. Many of you are super, super skilled, and you are connecting here with that divine feminine energy. Now, creativity can show up in many different forms, and I see that you are ripe with opportunity. You are ripe with giving birth to something in your life, and it's like you're in the gestation period here. You may be out networking, you may be communicating with other like-minded individuals, but make sure that you are taking care of yourself in the process. Now, we have the 2 of Swords. It does look like you've been going back and forth here, or there has been some sort of restraint, possibly because you feel like you didn't have enough information. Perhaps it feels like you didn't have enough knowledge in some area here, but that's where your third house of skills and learning is activated because you have the ability to figure it out. There's a really great book that I love called Everything is Figure Outable. And this tells me that there's nothing you cannot achieve if you set your mind to it. And if you need answers here, or if you are seeking for some sort of truth, I feel like you are going to find it. If you have been feeling wishy-washy or on the fence about a situation, it just feels like you are finally moving on with clarity. It feels like you now know the direction instead of feeling like you are stuck. This card always reminds me of those finger traps. You know, when you stick your fingers in that trap and you go to pull out, but your fingers get stuck? It feels like you've been trying to kind of get out of a sticky situation, but every time you try to like leave or depart from it, you get pulled back in. And this could be family drama, or it could be a financial story. And it just feels like this is something that you are really examining at this time, and maybe even asking for some sort of support, some sort of help. It reminds me also of that mental mindset that we talked about. Releasing any sort of negative self-talk, criticism, judgments, and fears is going to be important here. Now, the Seven of Pentacles is showing up as timing, meaning you are taking a look at your energy exchange. You've been waiting for something to grow here. Like I said, it feels like there's been a gestation process here where you're about to give birth. For many of you, this has been in the planning stages, or you have been putting a lot of investment, a lot of time, a lot of energy into your next move. And it feels like you're on the cusp of something quite beautiful with that Empress. She is the most abundant energy. Whatever she nurtures, whatever she, allows to grow, really multiplies because she is the most fertile energy here. So whatever it is that you are getting creative about, whatever exchanges are occurring, it's like you've been reevaluating and asking, is this filling my cup? Does this bring me pleasure? Is this a long-term goal that I can stay consistent with? And I see for many of you, consistency, especially with that King of Coins and the Ten of Coins here, it's hard to stay consistent, especially if this is a long-term dream. And sometimes there are times in my life where I want to throw in the towel. It feels like it's taking too long to accomplish certain goals, or it feels like, I'm meant to veer off and go in a different direction. But what I'm getting for you here is, patience and timing is going to pay out for you here. Now, of course, if you feel like you've hit a dead end, then this is the perfect moment to, embrace this divine detour here, to trust your intuition when it comes to expanding. But for many of you, you're being guided to not give up. This isn't the end of the journey for you. I'm not getting like a death energy here. If anything, I feel like you are moving into more flow instead of feeling like there's been resistance at every leg of the journey. You are being guided to not give up on a dream, even though it's been very challenging or very difficult. Now, let's look at health energetically and how this may manifest as physical symptoms in the body. Of course, please seek medical professional guidance if need be. But strength can be issues with overworking yourself to the point of exhaustion. This can be unhealthy lifestyle habits and patterns. Now, the strength rules the core parts of the body, such as our heart, our ribs, our spine, our back. This can bring about circulatory energies and vitality. So if you have been feeling low on energy, It feels like you are being asked to step out of a comfort zone here and to try, a new exercise routine, to maybe open yourself up to some strength training or core exercises, maybe some Pilates or some yoga. This is also about moving the lower extremities. For those of you that sit often, and I have to remind myself of this, especially when I have long recording days, to make sure that I get up and move my body, get outside, put my bare feet in nature, run up and down the stairs a million times, do some jumping jacks, and really move my body so I don't become sedentary. And for many of you, your circulatory system is calling out for movement. Now, the Empress showing up, is all about love, all connected to the heart chakra. Love conquers all, and it can heal us on every level. Now, the Empress can also speak of pregnancy. It can connect to the sacral chakra, the womb, and also connecting to stress from the lifestyle choices, whether this is smoking or drinking, or it can be our partners. It can also be connected to sex, right? The Empress is highly sexual. She can be, but there could even be the sacral chakra wounds around sexuality. And sometimes the Empress energy can denote a level of procrastination or even laziness at times, where you may feel stuck in an energy and you may feel like you don't want to move. Like, I don't have the energy to move my body, Mel. You may be looking into a vibration plate. I have one myself. I really love them. Now, vibration plate can really kind of help shake up that energy. It reminds me of the old school chi machines. And I see that, you are being guided to get out in nature more, right? This is Mother Nature connecting to more whole foods, connecting to the earth, maybe even supplements. I'm getting tea. So you may be a tea drinker. I love tea. I've recently started drinking more nettle tea, more dandelion, and more herbs, incorporating them into my daily tea rituals. And for some of you, you may even be connecting to plant medicine or mushrooms. I'm also getting Mother Aya, so maybe ayahuasca has been calling out to you. Now, of course, this is only if it resonates with you, but I'm also getting here with the Empress. Some of you may have even had, issues with fertility, or there's wounds. There may be self-forgiveness based on maybe some sort of mothering or parental energies. I'm getting forgiveness. So if you are holding some sort of judgments or criticism in that womb space, this is really the time to work on release, because I feel like you are ready to depart from this chapter of your life that's been very difficult, very challenging at times. All right, so let's look at finances, because finances is a key theme here for you. We have denial. Now, denial, it says here, perhaps you're insisting that reality be something other than it is. It could even be a refusal to see, and that can be the Two of Swords. Sometimes we're in denial. Sometimes we are refusing to see what's right in front of us. And it can also be putting up a false front to make money, or it could even be a mask. We tend to play roles. We tend to wear many different hats, and sometimes those hats we wear to fit in. There was a time, even in my younger years, where I didn't want to be known as, the girl who could feel or sense things or know things before they happened, or the one that talked to people who were no longer living on planet Earth. And so I shut down my gifts. I was living in denial because I wanted to fit in. I didn't want to be unique, right? And I had shut down that part of myself. And sometimes we can shut down parts of ourselves to fit into societal norms, societal standards. And I see here, when it comes to your career, It feels like there may be something that, really lights you up, but perhaps there's a belief that you are going to be judged, you're going to be criticized, or you're not going to make money doing it, or there have been rejections here in the past, right? There may have been a lot of no's, but I see that spirit is saying, don't give up. If this is a dream, if this is what your intuition is calling you to do, if this is part of the direction, don't let this Two of Swords keep you on the fence, contemplating here your life purpose or your path. Because oftentimes, we are tested. We are tested in how much we may want something. We're tested through trials and tribulations, but that hard work is going to pay off. You are coming back home to yourself, and it looks like it could even be through community. Now you have the ring here. This speaks of financial commitments, and because partnerships and collaborations and networking is highlighted here for you, there could certainly be, new connections at work that are helping you feel like you're part of a team. And if that has been a struggle in the past for those of you that are currently working, or maybe financially you are sharing commitments with a spouse or with a family member, this is about your long-term investments. You have the 10 of Pentacles. Some of you may be looking at retirement accounts. You may be looking at your assets. I'm getting land, real estate. You may even be taking a look at documentation such as wills, power of attorney, estates, things of that nature. And I see that you want to be prepared. Some of you have been planning for end times is what I'm getting, or you may even be connecting with a family member, maybe even a mother energy if her time is nearing, if she is in ill health, or if you are wanting to get things in order here. It feels like there could be some of that talk or some of that action being taken. Now, there's a big shift when it comes to career, when it comes to finances. There may even be some form of settlement or inheritance that's coming through with that 10 of Pentacles. Now, you could be taking your career in a totally different direction, right? Departing. I'm getting out of that rat race. I am moving off on my own, becoming more independent, or some of you are leaving behind, a job that no longer serves you. Maybe that's part of the denial, is you thought you had to stay because that's where the money was at, but you are opening up, listening to your intuition. And the biggest key piece of that is trust. And I find that so often, especially when I'm doing personal readings, the trust card comes up often because we lose sight, or we don't trust that our life is unfolding in a way that feels stable, because we are living in unprecedented times. But the fact that your soul came here to experience planet Earth in 2025, right, and prior, and hopefully many of you after, but I see that this is a big part of your evolution. You chose to come here during one of the biggest planetary shifts in history, and that should be, a monumental moment of pride, like feeling proud of yourself that you chose to incarnate into this lifetime. So when it comes to career, a lot of you are wanting to be of service. You're wanting to create peace on this planet Earth. You may even be called to nonprofit, humanitarian work here. It could be travel. It could even be like speaking, public speaking, or advocacy here. Many of you are counselors, guides, coaches. You may be in the field of healing, wellness, and nurturing here in some capacity with that Empress. So you've reached the end of a route where you are no longer guided to continue going with the same frequency, because you're leveling up here. There is the next level frequency, if you will. And so it does feel like there's ascension taking place, but in order for you to fully choose the direction, that's where intuition comes in. So it looks like there is There's fears at times with that strength when it comes to finances, when it comes to, long-term goals of yours, paying off debt or taking care of your family, taking care of a mother. Some of you may even be making some choices for your parents regarding nursing home or regarding end of life care, things of that nature. That's not easy to do. It's not easy to go through. And because siblings is coming up here, some of you may have lost a sibling, and November could hold some form of significance. Now let's look at relationships, partnerships, and family dynamics. We have blowing kisses here. This is an energy of unconditional love. Some of you may even have a new child entering into the family, whether you are the one giving birth or you could become a grandparent. This could even be, a nephew or a niece, or it could even be that you are blending families in some way here. And it could be a pet for some of you. Maybe there's a pet that's joining the family. Maybe this is a bunny, or it could even be a puppy, or maybe it's a tortoise. I feel for many of you, you want to feel this affection. You want there to be companionship in some way. You want there to be emotional support. And I see that there is an energy of giving and receiving, of reciprocity that you are moving into, but it requires you to release and come out of that 5 of Swords, because healing cannot take place in the same energy that destruction took place. And for many of you, that's been difficult because you've been trying to heal in the midst of, the same vibrational frequency, and therefore you've been spinning in your tracks. You have the dragonfly. The dragonfly represents transformation, truths coming to light, things coming to the surface. It's a lighthearted energy. It's adapting to new ways of living, new ways of being. So for many of you, I feel like you have done a lot of healing. You are a light worker, Virgo. You are here to emit light through your own struggles, through your own challenges. You're here to help connect with others. I feel like that's a big calling for all of us, really, is connection. We are not meant to, be walking through life with our head in our phone constantly, connecting to individuals just through, text or just through online communication, but face to face. And some of you, that energy is showing up strong. It's showing up loud, where you may want to connect more, more personally with people this month. Now you have the Chaser. You've heard of the runner-chaser dynamic, where some of you have been healing wounds around abandonment, codependencies, or you may have felt like you were chasing after all of the wrong things. It reminds me of that song in the movie Urban Cowboy, looking for love in all the wrong places. So perhaps some of you have felt like you've been looking for love, but it hasn't quite landed where you've wanted it. But I feel like you've done reflection, or there is a reflection process taking place where some of you have spent a lot of time with yourself, really healing and getting to know and fall in love with yourself, become your own soulmate. And if you are wanting love, if you are wanting that energy, the Empress is beautiful attraction, where the Empress is not going to settle for anything less than an emperor. And I see here that many of you are, evolving into this energy of equal give and take, reciprocity. You don't want to have to parent your partner. You don't want to have to feel like, you are the child in a situation, or feel like you have to take care of someone like they are the child, because some of you may even have a past life with a partner where roles were reversed in some way, or perhaps you had to take care of someone in a past life, and it feels like there's that old cell memory coming back into this lifetime. And I also feel for those of you that have children, you could be reconnecting to, a part of a child that maybe there's been tension, maybe there's been stress. There could even be visiting here of family, or reconnecting or rekindling, as I've mentioned in the beginning. Now you have boundaries coming through here, Virgo. I am kind, loving, and I have clear boundaries because it is important for me to love and respect myself and you. Oftentimes we think of boundaries just being for ourselves, but actually boundaries are for other people to teach us, respect, to teach others respect, right? This is my dance space. This is yours. Do your current boundaries feel clear? Do you need to redefine your boundaries? Write them out. Maybe these are boundaries at work, boundaries with your family, financial boundaries. Maybe these are health boundaries. Your mantra, I am grateful for this experience. I respect and love myself and others. So that is a message from your higher self. And lastly here, let's take a look at the two archetypes that came out for you. You have the shadow, which I'm just going to take a sneak peek at because I feel like you're moving away from the shadow, hence it being behind the offering. And there is something new being offered to you. This is a new blessing, right? It's a miracle. You have divine guidance and this is an answered prayer. And even though this prayer may be answered in a way that you weren't quite expecting, it's being answered in, a better way for you. That's for the highest good of all. So let's dive in and take a look at these two archetypes. I'm going to find them in the guidebook. One moment. All right, Virgo, the shadow has to do with the denied, right? And we have denial here. This has to do with the unwelcome, the unspeakable. Although every card in the archetype deck has a shadow potential, this card asks us to delve into the qualities of the shadow itself. And that makes sense because you also have strength here. We often think that the shadow can be purified, illuminated, and made right through effort and achievement. However, it is typically the case that our lofty pursuit of ascension and perfection is the very source of shadow material itself. By rejecting parts of ourselves and the world, we begin to separate from the whole. Rather than getting to know the qualities and the content of our shadow, we busy ourselves with avoiding its presence. This is denial. When this card appears, it is time to take inventory of those things you've been denying. When the mind responds with no, anything but that, you are touching shadow. Find support for this deep inner work and move towards the shadow with patience and compassion. And the fact that you have an offering coming up tells me that you've been doing the shadow work. You have been revealing unconscious aspects of the self and the world. And even though we have denial here, many of you are really getting honest with yourself and taking perhaps a scientific observation here. I see that the shadow is significant. It says in the shadow of the gods are the very gods themselves. Reflect on that statement. Now, it says here, reflect on the statement by James Hillman in A Blue Fire. What do you despise about yourself? By answering, you move towards shadow. I would love to hear this. This is a raw, vulnerable moment where we can connect. And I want you, if you feel brave enough, drop in the comment section below. I will enter you, Virgo, into the free reading giveaway. I'm going to repeat that. What do you despise about yourself? And I'll answer that first. I really despise at times that I can be a super perfectionist and it causes me to not utilize my time efficiently, and it allows me to kind of waste time on the true meaning behind what I'm trying to get out there, right? And my perfectionism really gets the best of me at times, and I despise that part of myself, but I understand and realize where it comes from, and I'm able to work with that energy. So drop your shadow in the comment section below. Now, because you have offering that's louder than the shadow, this is the gift. This is the present. This is the sacrifice. Unlike many of the other cards in the deck, the offering carries a clear as day message and a call to action. As you may have guessed it, it is time for something to be given and given up for the sake of the bigger picture. If nothing comes to mind immediately, though it's likely it will, take time and meditation to consider what must be offered and who is to receive it. It's likely you'll feel attachment and hesitancy. You'll make excuses, but recognize the link between the word sacrifice and the word sacred. One leads to the other, and when we offer up something to the greater good, we lighten our load and become more able to serve. Imagine for a moment if you were to offer your whole self unconditionally. Remember that word? Didn't we see that coming up here? Unconditionally. If you offer your whole self unconditionally to the world, for now, start small. This is volunteering. It could be donations. It could be generosity. And when it's showing up as the shadow, it's giving with expectations or keeping track, keeping tabs. That's a Five of Swords energy right there. And I see that you are being guided here to open up to this energy because this is the present. This is the gift. Once a week, Gandhi gave up speaking for a day, offering himself to the divine silence. The offering can come in all shapes and sizes. If there is a gift you've been thinking of giving someone special, now is the time. Now is the time, Virgo. That is what I have for your monthly reading. If you enjoyed the message, if you have taken away some key elements here, please do give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you haven't already. And if you are interested in a personal reading or signing up for the monthly newsletter, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video or by visiting intuitivesoulcoach.com.